What's happening, guys? Happy Sunday. That's right. Back on a Sunday. We are the Dynasty WarZone, the People's Dynasty podcast. On today's show, we're talking more about dynasty trades. We're talking dynasty trade tips. We're talking dynasty trade targets. And with me, as almost always, is in fact my co-host. You know him better as the man of the hour and the man with the power, Jerry Sinclair. Buddy, how's it going?
Randall Young, it is magnificent to be here for yet another week. We get to talk more trades, which is one of the erection-inducing topics that we get as Dynasty players, and I am rather excited for it. What in the hell is new with you?
You know, we're coming down the home stretch. And before I get into that, I want to thank everyone who messaged me, DM'd me, had questions in the YouTube chat last week about Vinny. By the grace of whomever you believe in, it looks like it's going to be mostly stitches, and he'll be back to as normal as he can get being my son very soon. But I just want to say thank you to everybody who reached out and was like, hey, that was cool. But man, we're coming down the home stretch. This is literally the last boring month of the year. And it's not even a month at this point. We have the Hall of Fame game. I think it's 3 weeks from tonight. 3 weeks from tonight. It's the Lions and the Chargers. Man, that's that's an alpha fest. You know, you've got Jim Harbaugh on one side. You've got Dan Campbell on the other. I mean, who you taking at a fracas there?
Oh, come on, stop it. Dan Campbell would stuff that boy in his pocket and leave him on the side of the road. We're going to have Hendon Hooker versus Trey Lance, just an absolute gunslingers duel that day. Can't wait for it.
It is going to set modern. It's what I love about football and football fans. It's right. It's that we see all these posts, and I'll include us in this. We make this post about missing football, and literally 48 seconds into the game, everybody's tweeting about how shitty the game is.
True.
It's like people on Thursday Night Football. All season long, this is a horrible Thursday night game. This is a bad Thursday night game. And then the minute you get to February, you know what? You're like, who was the crackhead on the Chappelle show back in the day? You're like itching and scratching. You'd be like, you got any more of that Thursday night football? Yeah, exactly. You're begging for football. So it is literally right around the corner. And camp start, I want to say quick. It's like 2 weeks from like Wednesday, Thursday. As crazy as that is to say. We are going to be in the training camp. We'll have training camp news. My favorite thing, I remind everybody of this. I try to remind you multiple times a year. Jerry, you're not a big Instagram guy. You're more of an X guy, and you really you kind of limit your social media.
I do.
But speaking of tips, dynasty tips, fantasy football tips, it is my absolute favorite. Create a second Instagram account. All you're going to do is follow all 32 NFL teams. The little reel thing across the top where like they show video highlights during NFL training camp, that is dynasty fantasy football porn. You'll be like, who is that guy? Do I have him on a dynasty roster? Do I need to go get him on a dynasty roster? Who is that? And I say that both jokingly and seriously. I remember, and this, I'm going to date myself a little bit. I remember watching preseason and camp stuff with Jay Cutler and Brandon Marshall. And I was like, that guy is going to be good. I don't know a lot, but I know that guy is going to be good. The other one is that create a second Instagram handle, and all you follow is all 32 ESPN beat writers, all of that local papers beat writers, and that's it. You don't even need Schefter. You literally just follow. And if you're, as a dynasty gamer, looking for names and nuggets and things to pick up along the summer trail, I think that's the biggest ROI that is also enjoyable, because when you go to that second Twitter handle or Instagram handle, it's not all the other stuff that the algorithm is going to that word
yeah, I don't know.
Exactly. So Jerry, that's one of my favorite things to do in the summer.
Yeah, you've been talking about that strategy since we started this podcast. So that must be football porn to you, because it is continued.
Dude, it's not so much the X. The X is like, really, if you're in season, Like to have all the beat writers and all the ESPN writers for a given team is great. Like if you're worried about an injury or do I need to pick up somebody? Is someone going to get an opportunity? Because that local beat writer seems to have a better handle on what's going on than, say, Adam Schefter. You know, Adam gets the big nuggets, right? If it was Brock Purdy, he'd know. If it was, I don't know, whoever, he would know the big names. But like that third string running back that means fuck all and nothing to the average NFL consumer, to us dynasty nerds, no trademark infringement there. It just works.
Yeah.
It means the world, right? So that's but the porn thing is the Instagram handle, because as the social media has grown, it's nothing but one hand for you true football lovers. It's one-handed catches. It's the random that means nothing. It's it confirms or denies your previous takes on a player. I think it's wonderful, Jerry. It's absolutely my favorite.
It's just something. It's a little bit of drug to get you to the real drug, which is just a few short weeks away.
We are literally just trying to get through until we get actual football. And then you start getting into preseason games. And again, same thing. I'm looking at that second string, third string, who's making the roster. Is Xavier Restrepo going to make a team? I absolutely love it. But we have a lot of trade things to talk about. But I want to make sure we bring up Fast Draft.
Let's face it, most people that play fantasy, they don't play DFS, they don't play big best ball tournaments. Why? Because it's too complicated and they feel like they can't win. And that's why we developed the Fast Draft Flex 4 game. You just draft any 6 guys, the top 4 into your lineup every week. So if you love Garrett Wilson, you think he's going to outscore Tyreek Hill, or you love Breece Hall, and you think he's going to outscore Devon Achane because you're a big Jets fan, if you're right, you will make money. You don't need to be running big data models. You don't need to be soaked in strategy and understand the schedule forwards and backwards. That's the beauty of Flex 4. Sure, those with great strategy win more money, but those that have strong takes on players can also go out and monetize those positions. And the beauty is it's just $5 a draft, just $5. You can draft 150 times and the winner gets 10 grand. So use your host promo code to get a $50 deposit match. So when you deposit, use that promo code and then you get $50 on me, because Flex 4 is a whole new way to play best ball.
I absolutely love it. And my wife and I, because, you know, I've mentioned this before, if you live in a state like Indiana where you can't play Fast Draft, there is a free game that you can join. And then when your state goes live, if you were to happen to win that contest, that would then convert to real money, blah, blah, blah. But the one I want to talk about was the Rabbit. It is traditional best ball. You know, what you've seen on Underdog, what you've seen FFPC, you've seen all these best ball drafts. Remember MFL 10s back in the day?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that was great. It's the same thing, except there's zero rake. The rake is the hold, the house's money, you know, what goes toward Fast Draft, which is $0 in the case of the Rabbit. And it's been live for a week, Jerry. So what percentage of the Rabbit is full currently?
Let's go 100%.
41.
Okay, so plenty of time.
41, but the last rookie Origins draft is at 76. The Flex 4 is almost full, 96%. That's $5. That's a $50,000 prize pool. And then last thing, thank you to everybody who's been signing up using the promo code WarZone, all one word, all in caps, WarZone. Keep doing that. Helps out a ton. Jerry, you hit me with a good people, bad tweets the other day.
I did. Very few and far between that I'm actually on social media, as you mentioned earlier, but I saw it and it was one of the dumbest fucking things I ever saw in my life, Randy. So if you want to quote that bad boy, start rolling.
You got it. And guys, when Jerry starts doing prep work, you know that's when it's going to be a good show, a banger show. And like he literally sent me this on like Tuesday, and it was from Elite Drafters. And I don't know what Elite Drafters is. I don't know if that means they help you draft elite players, if it's an aggregator like a Dov Kleinman or whatever it is, but it's Elite Drafters. Pretty sure this is obvious, ... But yes, grab Waller before you league mates do. I think they meant your, but anyway.
You know, English is tough.
I can barely speak it. Waller is a top 3 upside tight end in 2025. Jerry, now this tweaked your nipples enough to send this to me, please share. What about this fired you up?
You know what? If you want to tell people to pick up Darren Waller because he's free, okay. Like, whatever. Like, I disagree. I don't think he's worth anything. But if you want to say that, that's fine. To say that the man has top 3 tight end upside, you are out of your motherfucking mind, Randy. For one, Darren Waller hasn't played in a year. For 2, Darren Waller hasn't been relevant in 5 years. And for number 3, that time 5 years ago was like the only time Darren Waller has ever been relevant in the last decade. So you're going to tell me that somebody who has not been good in the last 5 years, has not played football in the last 365 days, is going to come in and challenge the likes of Trey McBride, George Kittle, Brock Bowers, Sam Laporta? Stop it. Like, stop it. He's worth what? Is he going to help? And I tweeted this, I think, the next day or something. Like, he's not good for any team. If you are contending, you already have a tight end. You don't need Darren Waller. If you're rebuilding, Darren Waller hasn't been relevant and is like 32 years old. You don't want him. Okay, maybe I can pick him up and I can trade him. What are you going to trade Darren Waller for? Like a third, a fourth, maybe. And that's the same for every single person that you can pick up and get 200-300 yards out of him. Like, I can pick up a rookie who you've never heard of, and if he has 250 yards on the season, I can probably get a fourth for him. So that's not special. There's nothing special about Darren Waller. He is a waste of your time. No, thank you. I'm good.
I'm going to play devil's advocate for just a quick second, although I agree with you. But just hear me out. If they had said the exact same tweet last year, but sub out Darren Waller and substitute Jonnu Smith, would you have felt the same way in July of last year?
Probably.
Okay,
because at least Jonnu Smith has played the damn game.
But the reason why I say that is because last year Jonnu finished as tight end 4. Yeah. Now the difference is that Jonnu had been there. Tyreek Hill was hurt, and Jonnu Smith, even though he's been in the league for what feels like 107 years, is only 29. Yeah. Darren Waller going into week 3 will turn 33 years old. So you stepped away. I mean, why? My question is like, it's the motivation. So for me personally, this will go back to possible versus probable. Is it possible that Darren Waller finishes as a top 3 tight end? Sure, it's possible. In 2020, which was half a decade ago, he scored 278 PPR points. But since then, he has scored 133, 85, and 113. Took a year off to make one of the shittiest rap albums in the history of hip hop. And then now I don't think so.
Randy, it is possible that an alien species travels across the galaxy, comes to planet Earth, comes to Ames, Iowa, just to make my ding dong 6 inches longer too. You cannot prove that it is not possible. That does not mean that it is going to happen. And Darren Waller finishing anywhere near that, he is in the same likelihood of the alien species coming from Alpha Centauri to make my ding dong larger. Stop it. Stop it. Throw that man away.
All right. Well, that's enough Darren Waller talk, and that's damn sure enough talk about your ding dong. So what I'm going to do is I don't have a fresh Dana White queued up, but you know what? I'm going to hit you with a double shot of some other people.
They don't know what the fuck they're doing. Do you understand that?
If you take your top lip and connect it to your bottom lip, you will shut the fuck up. Sometimes shutting the fuck up is the best thing you can do.
It is indeed, Jerry, and I'm ready to talk dynasty trades.
That's true. I probably should have taken that advice before I talked about my ding dong, but here we are.
You can't put the ding dong talk back into the bottle. It's already out there for public consumption. Awesome. Let's go into a dynasty trade tip. So last week we went over several. And we're going to hit you with some trade targets now. We are monitoring the chat. It's good to be back on Sundays. A lot of people are in the chat right now. New people, Darth Twerk, Big Noggin. The Culture Watch has been here before. Chef been here before. I recognize Slashy, of course. Slashy's great. I recognize several of the names. So if you guys start putting Dynasty trade questions or trades you want us to talk about, we'll try and save some time at the end of the show. Jerry, hit us with another piece of Dynasty trade advice that you didn't cover last week.
I think the one that I didn't cover is never trade for the best player. Never trade for Jamar Chase. Never trade for Josh Allen. Never trade for any elite running back, because their value is going to depress in 8 months, 12 months, every single person. Jonathan Taylor was RB1. Breece Hall's been RB1. Bijan Robinson's been RB1. That'll change. It'll change. Jahmyr Gibbs will not be RB1 this time next year. He won't. And Ashton Jeanty will probably be it. And then another year from that, he will no longer be that. Just because you are going to end up paying an ass load. There's just no way around it. Those guys that have that perceived value that they are going to change the way that dynasty championships are won are too expensive. Every single time. There is virtually not a player that you should trade for 3 first-round picks in a superflex dynasty draft. And yet, every single time I see these people talk about trading someone like that, it always has to do with that. Like Josh Allen, probably worth it, right? Like, at least you're getting a youngish, stable, elite quarterback. But like Bijan or Ashton Jeanty, like, no. Like, I don't need 2 firsts and a second for that player. Those picks are more valuable than that. So not trading at somebody's ceiling. Like, right? Like, it's common knowledge to, buy when the value's down, sell when the value's high, and yet dynasty players love to do the opposite. They absolutely love to play when the one person is the new hotness. Jaden Daniels, big example.
If you had, there's only one time that I would advocate against that strategy. And that is, let's say you were the most experienced dynasty gamer when you started this league. And you big brothered this group, and like, you've stolen all of the good draft picks, and you have all of the good players, and you've been dominant. And I've been in leagues like this, right? Where like you take an orphan and you're like, why does that guy have the top 5 at every position on his roster? If you're in that case, yeah, maybe you want to balance the league out a little bit, and by overpaying for somebody. But I'm with you. I never, and I'm going to save my big piece of trade advice for a little bit later in the show. But I do agree. But if you are selling, like Jerry's not buying a big name like Jamar Chase or Ashton Jeanty or a guy like that. But if you are selling, like let's say you're Jerry and you're selling, and let's say Jerry and I are working a deal, right? We're in trade. We've been going back and forth. We're trading DMs or texts or even phone calls if it's that kind of league. And you get the framework of a deal. And one of you, Jerry, what does one of you inevitably say? Send it, and I'll look at it.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Send it, and yep. And you know what? That's cool. But the minute you do, if you've ever had anybody else in your league interested in Jamar Chase or Ashton Jeanty or whatever, that's when you slide in that person's DMs and you're like, hey, I'm getting ready to trade Jeanty. You've been in before. Here's a deal that I'll take for you. I'll give you a chance, one last chance. Before you hit accept trade or before you hit send trade, don't be afraid to try to maybe go in a different direction that benefits you a little bit more. Jerry, thoughts on that?
100%, man. We get, some people get caught, right, Randy? Like we all have the player that loves their players. They get married to them, and that's just, you just got to pivot. You got to, be the, what did Bruce Lee say? Be like water. Is that what it was?
Yes. I think I remember about Bruce Lee. is that he invented a martial art called Jeet Kune Do. I don't know much else about Bruce Lee. I know he had a son named Brandon, but anyway, give us another. Yeah, Brandon. You never heard of Brandon Lee, the original Crow?
No.
Oh my! You need to do a little little research. You spend too much time playing Dynasty. Give me another trade tip.
I mean, I could just reverse it and say sell the elite players, but that's probably a little bit lazy on my part. I'm gonna steal one from Randy. And it's not that one that he has said, it's just playing in lots of leagues from Randy. And it's something that I did not like to do for a very long time, is trade for the quarterbacks that everybody hates. Randy has a bazillion teams of like the Daniel Joneses and the Sam Darnolds and the Geno Smiths of the world and the Baker Mayfields. And then all of a sudden, right? Like what part of the roller coaster are we on right now where Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold and Geno Smith all have increased value? Now you're going to miss some. Don't get me wrong. You know, Mac Jones happens. You know, Daniel Jones is actually, you know, looking like an increase in value. Like you're going to miss some of them, but for the most part, it's something that I never did. And I have started doing it over the last couple of years, and it insulates your team so much better. And when you actually get those hits where the Baker Mayfield, I mean, he's my starter. I won a championship because of Baker Mayfield last year. Never would have happened otherwise.
If you play in a good league where your championship ends week 17 and not week 18, then Sam Darnold probably won you some cash last year. I mean, I know he played like absolute dog shit in that final game against the Lions, and then he played even worse against the Rams in the playoff games. By the way, I'm going to defend Sam Darnold. Hey, Kevin O'Connell, how about we call a run? How about we calm him down a little bit? A different conversation, but for a different day. It's part of the reason why I'm so bullish on Daniel Jones. There's going to be one of these guys every year, you know, and as the OG, and I was right, by the way, the OG Justin Fields denier, Justin Fields is probably going to be a fantastic QB2 this year in Dynasty. Like a guy that is going to win you weeks level of good. Now, I don't know about the offense, but people threw Justin Fields away. Like what could you have gotten Justin Fields for this time last year where he was listed on the roster with Russell Wilson? A third?
Second
maybe,
and thirds.
Twos and threes.
I acquired him quite a bit for twos because I assumed he would at least get another shot. So I figured I was just going to, because you know me, I don't give a shit about a second. So I flipped him and just hoping that he would get a shot. He did get a shot. I'm hoping I can just trade it in season because I don't really believe in Justin Fields, but I saw the opportunity to increase some value and trade him. So deal.
I am sitting on a bumper crop of Justin Fields because it was this time last year when we were talking trades, a guy that I was very bullish on was Justin Fields. I'm like, hey, Justin Fields, you know, I'm going to buy the dip. And here's the thing. If you got Justin Fields last year, or maybe you got him dirt cheap this year in a startup, you are going to get a nice cash out opportunity somewhere around Halloween or sooner. He's probably going to get off. He's going to, you know, get off on a good foot. You know, I don't know what the offense is going to look like. I know the guy that they brought over to be the OC came from the Lions with Aaron Glenn. Maybe he can work some miracles with Justin Fields, but Justin Fields' legs are what's going to give him fantasy production. And if you got him for a second and you've got a contender in your league, and God forbid a big name QB goes down in a superflex league, and you've got Justin Fields as your fourth QB on your roster, there's your first round return. Hey, I'll just take your contenders first for Justin Fields.
Yep.
That is how it worked. You know, I diversified, you know, we jokingly talk about my affection for Sam Darnold. I diversified and sold off some Sam Darnold last year throughout the season because he was my fourth or fifth QB. I'm always looking for these guys on the rebound. And I would have to double check, but I'm pretty sure Mac Jones is now the backup in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Don't pretend like Don't pretend like for 1 second. Remember the rumors, that Kyle Shanahan wanted to draft. They traded up and they were going to draft Mac Jones that early.
They took Trey Lance.
But yeah, that is why you're always looking to pick up those retread quarterbacks. They've only got to hit for a year, and then you get a nice return. I've got one more boring one before I close out this segment with my big hitter.
Cool. Let me before you do it,
Sure.
Let me just say, right, you've been talking about how much you've gone after Justin Fields. Anybody that's new to this podcast, maybe since we joined Player Profiler, that's okay. Randy said some nice things about Justin Fields, but anybody that has listened to us since the pre-Player Profile era may have shit their pants when they heard Randy say nice things about Justin Fields, because there has not been a human being in this space who has besmirched the Dynasty glory that everybody has bestowed upon Justin Fields. So that's what I'm saying. Be like water, right?
Correctly besmirched.
100%.
The fantasy name
100%.
of I wasn't out here just lobbing grenades at the guy because I didn't I didn't like him.
But no, of course not. I'm just saying, he was a dynasty darling for a long time, and he disappointed a lot. And now that we have seen a different situation, right? Come around on somebody. You don't have to be a stubborn ass all of the time. In fact, in this game, you should not be a stubborn ass. Anyway, sorry to interrupt, but it was a point that it's a point of knowledge that somebody who has played in a substantial amount of seasons, as you and I have. I mean, we've got 20 leagues. We've played in them for 15 years. We got hundreds of seasons of data to work with. It was just something that I feel was a good lesson for people to pick your brain on.
No, I appreciate that. And I've stolen this because Colin Cowherd always says it. He's like, I'm not about being right. I'm about getting it right. My job as a content creator, and yours too, our job is to help you get it right. It's not about locking in on a take with a guy and then being like, this is what it is. This is who he is. Because then you have to almost root against that guy in season. You need him to fail so your take is correct. Guys, just go where and that's not fun at all. I got a boring one for you. Do have honest relationships with your league mates about their needs. Like, don't be the guy who offers someone, like, maybe they drafted well. Like, maybe they and I have a team like this. I had drafted Trey McBride, and then the next year in the rookie draft, I took Sam Laporta. All right?
Chilling.
Please. Yeah, I'm doing, most of my leagues are tied in premium. I'm doing great. Thank you. But do not be the guy who offers someone in that situation who's got Trey McBride and Sam Laporta. Please don't offer him Kate Otten. Don't do that. Don't do that. You lose credibility. When I look, that tells me you took no time to look at my roster. It tells me this is the pile of dog shit that you want to get off of your roster, and you think I'm the one. I'm the dummy. Hey, there's the mark. There's the sucker. There's the idiot who will take this pile of monkey trash and put him on his roster. Why do we? Don't be that guy. Like, if I won't even counter. I'll just be like, look, you're not in it to help me, so I'm not going to be in it to help you. Just I don't think that's a bad way to do business. I mean, even if it's like, in that situation, I would much rather get an offer of like your sixth wide receiver as opposed to a tight end. Take the 38 seconds it would take to look at my roster, try to identify the gaps, and then send something accordingly. It's not that damn hard.
No, 100%. Listen, you're going to have disagreements on value with players, right? Like Randy and I, we've argued back and forth about, RJ Harvey and JK Dobbins quite a bit in the last 6 weeks. So like, if we were going to trade for those players, our evaluation would look very different. No issues with that. But yes, look at the person's roster. What I get a lot of is when I'm rebuilding is someone will try and trade for my running backs, and I will usually not have running backs. So like, I'll have one and they're trying to trade for it. And I'm like, bro, like I can't start like my cousin Vinny in a spot because that's all I have. So just look at the roster. I'm cool with that, Randy. I don't think I send dog shit trades. I definitely get some dog shit trades. I'm sure people will say that I send some dog shit trades, but like just at least try. Maybe they value the player a little bit different, but look at the position group at least.
You know, we've all heard of fantasy receipts. You know, they're out there doing the Lord's work,
Yeah.
putting people who make dumb statements on blast. I think we might need to create like a trade version of that, but we'll only post it if you don't redact the offenders' names. Like if you take the little black squiggly thing and squiggle out their name, or like you blur it out, it will not make the handle. You want to stop bad, shame will stop or start a lot of things. Jerry, do you have anything else before I hit these people with my coup de grace? We're coming off of the 4th of July. You go watch the fireworks, and at the end they have the finale. I have what I consider my finale. Do you have anything that you want to add before we move on?
Nothing monumental. So if you've got something that's good, then let's discuss.
And we will right after this.
If you play in Dynasty, you need Dynasty Deluxe, our premium package for Dynasty Leaguers. We rank over 300 players, updated every week, all year long. And there's a win now mode and a rebuild mode with superflex and tight end premium controls. And a Dynasty League sync where you can say, sync down all of my sleeper teams, all my FFPC teams. And then you can browse around your leagues for who has needs. And then you can use our trade finder to see what kinds of trades are happening in leagues that are similar to the one I want to do. Then you can analyze trades using our trade analyzer, which balances the lifetime value, which includes pick values out to like 2028. All of that plus the rookie guide, $25 value is included. So if you're just in one Dynasty League, Dynasty Deluxe is well worth it. And use your host's promo code, and you can bump up to All In and get $25 off.
And the promo code is WarZone, all one word, all caps, just like for Fast Draft. WarZone is the code. All right, Jerry, here it is. Here's my biggest piece of Dynasty trade advice. You ready?
Fire away.
You have to lose trades to win leagues. You have to be willing to, quote unquote, lose a trade to win leagues. If you're the kind of, like we were just joking around about the bad trade finder, like if you couldn't stomach being on something like that, then this theory may not be for you. But I have been in many a league, and I've won many a league where someone has like, that is the worst trade I've ever seen. And when you come in and like all of a sudden it cashes in. Now, that doesn't mean you get ridiculous. I'm not taking 6 second-round rookie picks in 2025 for Jamar Chase. I'm not. But I trust. And like, this is a little secret that ties to trades. I'm a big fan of Dan Williamson. Overhyped sleeper, been on the show many a times. Him and Theo Grimminger, those guys play deep. And when I mean deep, I mean big buy-ins. I'm talking 4 figures. They've never mentioned 5 figures, but when you're willing to, but I know they put over 5 figures on the line every year in best ball entry fees. And when one of those dudes says a guy's going to have a big season, they're not saying it to say it. They're saying it because they believe it. And I do the same thing. Hey, I'm going to go out and I'm going to tie this back to one of yours. I'm going to go out and I'm going to move Jamar Chase, and I'm going to get a wide receiver in that next tier or 2 down. I'm going to get a running back I like. I'm maybe going to fill another hole, because I know in aggregate, if I post that trade, like maybe you got Terry McLaurin and I don't know, I'd have to workshop this backwards, but you get 3 or 4 pieces. I just look at it as I love Jamar Chase and he's a great building block, but he's a piece of luxury, right? I will take Jamar Chase and the 3 guys that I have to currently put in my lineup, and then I'll take the pieces that I'm getting back and which side gives me more points on average on a week in, week out basis. That's the side that I want. That's how you win. You can't get attached to one guy's production, one guy's points. You have to do what's best for your team. So that has always been my favorite piece of Dynasty advice, is you have to be willing to lose, quote unquote, lose the trade in the court of public opinion to win leagues, Jerry.
Preach, brother. Preach. Winning a trade doesn't mean a GD thing. It doesn't. I don't care if every person on Twitter tells me that I made the stupidest trade in the world. You know why? Because most of you are stupid.
I'm
going
to be nicer than you. That's a rarity. I'm going to be nice. I'm going to be nicer than you, but I don't ever want to be on the side of the general public, guys. It's like last year. Was that you can just answer yes or no? Was there money in backing CJ Stroud?
Yeah, for sure.
No, there wasn't. There was. He had a horrible sophomore season.
I thought you were saying going into it. My bad.
Yeah,
I didn't listen. Didn't listen.
That was the
mail.
That
was the mail in me.
I'm not telling you got to fade Jaden Daniels, but if I'm going in the same direction as everybody else, I'm going the wrong direction. You know, what do they say? Hey, I don't know where we're going, but we're making good time.
Anthony Richardson, brother. Everybody loved Anthony Richardson.
We just can't go in the same direction as everybody else and expect to win. I'm trying to go a different direction. I'm trying to go opposite of my league mates because it doesn't always work out perfectly. But that's what it is for me, Jerry. But do you have anything else trade tip? Because I want to get into a couple of trade targets. If you read the show, but we got to talk some trade targets. Here's
my thing, though. It just about what you said. It's all about winning the league. It's not about winning a trade. Winning a trade doesn't matter. The court of public opinion is irrelevant. And I said that everybody's stupid. I don't really mean that. Like I've made more mistakes than every one of them combined. But the point is stop believing what others will tell you is a good move and what is not. You will find out. You are building your team the way you want to build it. You have a structure. You have a plan in place. Stick to the plan. Sticking to your plan is more important than anything. As far as my trade advice, don't let a second round rookie pick get in the way of a good deal. Randy, just to piggyback off of what you just said about losing a trade, I will never, if I am trying to get a player and they counter me back and they want an extra second, here you go. You can have, I don't know, Trey Harris or Jaden Higgins or Cam Scatabo or, and that's just this year. Go back years after years after years and look at a lot of these mid to late second round picks. And for those of you that are newer to this game, you may not even recognize their names because they were never relevant. Because the hit rate on a second round pick is probably 1/3 of the time. And that's usually going to be eaten up by the early second round picks. So, and a third, I'm going to, like Randy, notorious for sending me a trade, or I send him a trade. He counters it back where he gets an extra third. Done. He knows he can get it, and good for him, manipulating his league mate where he knows that tendency and he can get away with it. And he's right, because I will every single time. Because if I can build the team that I want and get the player that I want, that rookie pick does not matter to me. I'm good.
It's reasonable. Hit me with a guy. Hit me with a guy that's been on your radar, and yeah, let's just do that. Hit me with a trade target, because this says 5 dynasty trade tips. We've done that. We've given them plenty of trade tips for the night. Hit me with a trade target.
Breece Hall. Now Breece Hall he's already a high production player. He's pretty expensive still. But we've gotten to the point where the world thinks there is no possible way that Breece Hall can finish as RB1, and I think you guys are nuts. Aaron Glenn coming from Detroit. What do the Detroit Lions do? They run the ball a ton. And Aaron Glenn, was the former defensive coordinator of the Detroit Lions, not exactly, an explosive offensive creative mind. And he's got Justin Fields. Okay, do you really want to rely on Justin Fields, or do you want to rely on somebody like Breece Hall? You don't
I like Breece Hall.
That's what I mean. And you don't have tons of pass catchers. You have essentially Garrett Wilson. Okay, I'm going to try and funnel my offense through Breece Hall, who is both a good rusher and a good pass catcher. And the Dynasty community views him as a B tier guy. He's in the Jonathan Taylor sort of tier. And Jonathan Taylor is another guy that I could say to buy, because I don't think they're going to try and go through Daniel Jones or Anthony Richardson or whoever else. Everybody's circle jerking Josh Downs like Josh Downs is the second coming. But I got news for you. Jonathan Taylor is really the only person on that offense that I care about at all.
I'm with you on Breece Hall. I think if in Dynasty you want to get Breece Hall, you better get to getting, because I love the fantasy footballers. I love Matthew Berry, but it's going to become common knowledge very quickly that, we just talked earlier in the show about, training camp getting ready to start. I saw Fantasy Points where Theo is going. Their daily fantasy show starts tomorrow. So as the redraft player gets in and the redraft content really churns, I agree with you. Breece Hall is going to go up, and Breece Hall could get traded to a contender. I still believe that if a team, and I don't ever say players' names because I don't want to put the negative energy out there. But if a contender loses a running back before the NFL trade deadline, there's a world where if you're the Jets and you're not re-signing Breece Hall anyway, why wouldn't you take a third-round pick for him? Easy money.
True.
And running back is the easiest out of all the offensive skill positions. It is the easiest to transition from team A to team B. So love him. I'm going to throw out a couple of easy ones. Are you ready?
Shoot.
I'm going to go first with Michael Pittman. I've mentioned Pittman before. I do not understand. He's like 27, 28 years old. And Jerry, I will throw. Actually, I'll tell you, he'll be 28 mid-season, October sometime. Okay, so right in the peak of his powers. This is the apex. He played hurt last year, right? Now, forget his rookie year. I'm gonna throw that out. What has he averaged in points per game outside of his rookie year? Because his rookie year, he only played 13 games, and averaged 7.6 PPR points a game. But since then,
what is it?
It's 12.5 points.
Okay.
12.5 points. I'm sorry, 13.5 points, 12.5 with the rookie season, 13 if you pull the rookie season out. He has finished as sophomore season, wide receiver 17, third season, wide receiver 20, 2023 season, wide receiver 13. And then last year, he did finish as wide receiver 41. He still got you 10.4 PPR points a game. He is valued on Player Profiler as wide receiver 46. That is an absolute steal. Now, Daniel Jones is not going to be confused for Patrick Mahomes. Just not going to happen. But he's a better passer of the quarterback for what Michael Pittman does than Anthony Richardson. My only concern with Pittman is that good friend of the show, Dr. Kyle, we talked about this. He asked me, how many targets does Tyler Warren get? I was like, I'm not going to be surprised if Tyler Warren, Josh Downs, and Michael Pittman Jr. all get 100 plus. But he's a guy that's going to give you wide receiver 2 production, and he's currently a borderline wide receiver 4. Absolute steal, Jerry. I think Pittman's one of my go-tos.
I think he's up there. We had this conversation a couple of weeks ago about how similar his stats are with T. Higgins. Now, T. Higgins valued at whatever the hell T. Higgins is valued at, probably pretty close to a wide receiver 1, if not, wide receiver top 16 probably. And Michael Pittman's at 45 or whatever you said. So I'm cool with it. I know I was
T. Higgins, wide receiver 14. Michael Pittman, wide receiver 46. Pull up their stats, go to like fantasy data, or go to Player Profiler. They're great.
Virtually identical.
The difference is that
touchdowns.
Over the last 4 years, how many games on average does Michael Pittman play out of 17?
A good amount.
16.5. He has 2 seasons of 17 games, 2 seasons of 16 games. And last year, my guy was playing through a back injury. Smash, Michael Pittman. Jerry, give me another guy.
Trevor Lawrence. Listen, Brian
Sunshine?
Sunshine. Brian Thomas Jr. is an absolute star in this league. And it looks like Travis Hunter could absolutely be there as well. Add into the fact that Travis Etienne can also catch the ball. And hopefully Brenton Strange can continue to grow on what he did last year. Either way, Trevor Lawrence, not going to be the savior that everybody thought he was going to be when he was the universal 101 in Superflex a few years ago. Still, the hate's gone too far. Listen, he's been not good, right? He's been comparable to Daniel Jones, blah, 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 blah. Brian Thomas Jr., Travis Hunter with Liam Cohen. It's a good situation. He's a good quarterback. Stop being a hateful bastard. Moral of that story.
And they also added, I know this guy's not ever been, I don't know what people thought he was going to be, but Dami Brown, they added him in free agency, coming off of a career high of 30 receptions last year. And he's a guy that might be a sneaky ad. And here's one that I absolutely love because per player profiler, he is wide receiver 56. Wide receiver 56, Jerry. And it is none other than Darnell Mooney. Let me ask you a litany of questions about Darnell Mooney, okay?
Okay.
Would you say he got a quarterback upgrade last season to this season?
I would say so.
Did they add any target competition of relevance?
Not of relevance.
Okay. And where did he finish last year as a wide receiver in fantasy? He finished as wide receiver blank.
I have not even the slightest idea.
If you had to guess out of like 1 to 100.
I have Darnell Mooney in 0.0 league, so I honestly have no idea.
He was wide receiver 31 last year in
Okay.
total fantasy points. He was almost identical. He scored more points per game than Marvin Harrison. He outscored.
Sorry, that's just funny.
So it changes the average. Marvin played all 17 games, averaged 11.6.
Yeah.
Darnell Mooney averaged 12.1. Okay. He scored more points than DK Metcalf, scored more points than Xavier Worthy. I mean,
Worth a stab.
Dude.
Worth a stab.
If how offended or how attainable for you as a dynasty GM if I come to you and say, hey Jerry, man, I'd like to get Darnell Mooney, or if there's a trade, because this is where I would reverse Jedi mind trick Jerry.
Brother,
I'd be like,
no, I would give you Darnell Mooney because I would have not realized that he was doing that well.
And it's just there's no sexiness to it.
No,
but like I said, in all those leagues that we're in where you must start 3 wide receivers. Dude, getting a guy like Darnell Mooney who can give you middle of the pack wide receiver 3 numbers in that kind of a format, that is crazy. That is crazy. And he's not that old. I'm getting ready to pull up his age. He's not even 28. He's 27. Dude will turn 28 at the end of October. This is an absolutely great. And he also has a previous season in Chicago where he averaged 12.9. PPR points a game. Slept on. I think Atlanta's team is still going to be bad. They're still going to be playing from behind. There'll be a ton of targets. I do agree with everybody that Penix is an upgrade. Jerry, give me another one of yours.
I'm going to give you just a quick one so we can just ramble through and then I can get to another one because this one's not sexy at all. It's Kirk Cousins because he's free and he doesn't have a job right now, which makes him absolutely free. But we've talked about a whole bunch of quarterbacks who had a whole bunch of poor situations, and then all of a sudden they got a starting job and they increased in value. Now, Kirk Cousins is, I don't know how old Kirk Cousins is, old, my age probably. And so he's not going to be long for the league. But at some point, I think that dude is going to play. And I think you will see an increase in value when he does get Kirk Cousins, Randy. I don't think we really need to talk super a lot into that, but who do you got?
I have a guy that as recently as 2023 finished as the RB3 for the entire season. He is 26 years old. He is in a contract year. He was a former first-round pick. And according to Player Profiler, he is running back 40. My name, Travis Etienne. What are we doing, guys? What are we doing? This is what I call what have you done for me lately syndrome. What have you done for me lately? It's the same. He's suffering from the exact same. He is behind, and I'm going direct when this podcast is over. Like I always, because I do the editing and the work with the producers and everything. I got to send all this in. The second email that I'm sending will be a sharply worded one to the Podfather. That how can 26-year-old Travis Etienne be behind? And I'm going to list some of the guys that he is behind in the player profiler rankings. Are you ready?
Shoot.
Trey Benson.
Horrible.
Aaron Jones.
Embarrassing.
Zach Charbonnet.
Stop it.
Tyron Tracy.
Shenanigans.
Cam Scadaboo.
Good God.
The rookie that they drafted this year that has both fumbling and pass protection issues, Bashal Tootin.
Oh my God.
What do we do?
Tootin's ahead of him.
Yeah, Tootin's way ahead of I mean, unless Travis Etienne got arrested for
Which he didn't.
For a domestic violence that I have not heard about, that might be the greatest value. Contract year. Oh, and what's the worst thing that happened? Like if you can go, and I don't think Travis Etienne is that cheap in the dynasty space, but if you can get that dude, guys, he's going to be a free agent next year. And guess where he could wind up? He could sign in a multitude of places. But here's the thing. I'm not worried about Tootin. And I do want some exposure to Tank Bigsby. But I cannot wait. Like I have not done my homework. Shame on me because the cross-pollination just hit me. All right. It just hit me. It's like I want to know where Travis Etienne is going in the Rabbit and in Flex 4 on Fast Draft. Promo code WarZone. Where is he going? I mean, is it inconceivable for him to get back to being a top 10 running back?
No.
The way he was just 2 years ago? I think Liam Cohen's going to improve that offense. They've added things to the offense. And I don't consider Tootin or Bigsby anything but backups. Breather backs.
Bingo.
So those are my guys. Jerry, do you have anyone else? Because we've given some trade targets. I've given 3.
Listen.
Hold on, real quick. I want to make sure I clarify this for the YouTube. Arrested is crazy. No, Austin, I'm saying that's what I'm saying. He's not been arrested. But people treat his dynasty value the way that they did Tyreek Hill 3 or 4 years ago when he was out doing shenanigans. Travis Etienne is a good
outstanding
guy.
Citizen.
That's the words I was looking for.
No, the dynasty community decided that they hated Travis Etienne,
what have you done for me lately?
Hold on, let's see. I'm sure they got super horny about Tank Bigsby. Let's see what Tank Bigsby even did. Right.
All right. While you're doing that, I want to prep a couple of these trade questions because people were kind enough to ask them. We need to be kind enough to answer them instead of giving them nonsense at the end. Hey guys, normally this is the part of the show where you turn this show off. Stick around. We're going to talk more Dynasty Fantasy Football. I got nothing non-fantasy football related tonight.
Okay, ready? You ready for Tank Bigsby, Randy?
Yeah.
He had 100 yards against the Indianapolis Colts and 118 yards on 26 carries against the New England Patriots. 2 very bad teams, the only time he ever did anything. Just because Travis Etienne did not play in those games does not mean Tank Bigsby is any good. It also doesn't mean Bashal Tootin is any good. So I agree. Travis Etienne is an absolute buy. That was a great pick by you. Randall, trades.
All right. Let's talk about some of these trades because, like I said, people were good enough to put them in the chat. And I mean, let's be honest. I don't need to give you guys a whole show sheet. This is your show. This is us paying back all of you good people that ask your questions in the YouTube chat. So thank you. Ashley and Michael, I'm not even going to attempt the last name. Non-tight end premium. Do you trade Brock Bowers for Bijan? 10-team, start 8, 2 running backs, has Jones and Harvey. If you go Bijan, the tight end is Njoku and Goddard. I'll answer this one first. I'm actually not, even though it's not. Oh, you would be getting Bijan. Yes, I would. If it was the premium, then I would be sticking with Bowers because Bowers is a unicorn. Although I really like Brock Bowers, but I think the league is just changing to the point to where you're going to see more target funnel tight ends. It's like, I forget the number. I think it was 1, like the number of catches that Trey McBride had versus the number that like Brock Bowers had last year. Everybody's going crazy about Brock Bowers. It's like, dude, Trey McBride 2 years in a row. What am I missing? I think the NFL will continue to give us that. Yeah, dude, get Bijan in 10-team leagues, start 8 formats. That running back position is critical. Ashley and Michael. I hope they're doing that together. As a couple of married guys, like, I don't know if I'd want my wife doing Dynasty fantasy football with me or not, but it's cool if you are.
I mean, that's true. One day I'll get Nicole in here. Dr. Nicole will do it. Easily Bijan. Without the tight end premium, so easy. Like, and David Njoku and Goddard are fine. Conversely, your running back 2s in that situation, yucky ducky. So,
dude, I'm telling you, with the Cleveland quarterback situation, and I like Cedric Tillman. Like, I would love Cedric Tillman if Jameis was still there, because you got to throw the occasional YOLO ball. I'll tell you, Tillman would actually be pretty good with Deshaun Watson because of all of his picadillos. When he was good, he threw a good deep ball. But
true.
That's not what Shador or Kenny Pickett or Joe Flacco are going to do. They're going to pepper the tight end and the guy, Jerry Jeudy and Njoku. So non-premium, yes, sir, or ma'am, or both. Easily Bijan. Slayer Stacker. Throw this one in the chat right quick. 1 QB, 12 team, start 9, PPR, no premium. I'm rebuilding. So I need to trade Jeanty. Is Jeanty for Brian Thomas Jr. a fair heads-up trade? Or should I ask for more, or am I asking for too much? Jerry, I'm going to let you go first.
I prefer Brian Thomas Jr. I think you're asking a fair amount. I don't know if the Brian Thomas Jr. person will agree with you, but if I'm going to have a young running back or an elite wide receiver, I'm going to take the wide receiver every single time.
Not only do I think it's fair, I think it's too fair. I think you can 100% capitalize on the Jeanty buzz. It's like, my question to that other GM would be do you think I could get Jamar Chase for Jeanty? I bet you'd be close. Could I get Justin Jefferson? Could I get CeeDee Lamb? Yeah, it's probably equally as fair. So I'm going to need you to kick in something else, like as a rebuilder. And depends on how savvy your league mates are. Like everybody, I was listening to Cody Carpentier this past week talk about 2027 firsts. If you can send a Jeanty and a 26 or 27 second, and you get back Brian Thomas Jr. and a 2027 first, even a 2026 first, that is great business on your half. While I think those two straight up are a fair trade, this is one of those rare times, given the hype around Jeanty and the scarcity of really elite dynasty running backs. I mean, it's really Bijan, Gibbs, and now Jeanty. And then a bunch of guys that we like, but they're not elite anymore for whatever reason.
You can sort of sell that Travis Hunter is going to eat into his targets a little bit too. Maybe that helps you too.
So yeah, that one right. That's how I would approach it, Slayer. But you do you. Cameron Myers, newest patron over at patreon.com/Dynasty WarZone. He said he took my advice and he flushed it down and accepted 3 firsts, including the 105, the a 26 first and a 27 first for Jeanty. I mean 105. So let me give you a little backstory on Cameron's roster.
I don't need a backstory. That's a snap accept 100 times out of 100.
Because at his team, he's got the 105. Now he's loaded at quarterback. I've seen this roster. I helped him with this roster. That's one of the things about being a patron, right? Is that you get that roster help with me, not just on the show, not just on the show, but like when you need me, like in the moment. That is going to pay him back because his team is really, really stinking good. Outside of his running backs are hot, moist garbage. They're not horrible, but you get my point.
This boy said they're hot, moist garbage. They're not that bad.
He's also got the 104, and now he's got the 105.
Cool. I'm stacking running backs. We're chilling.
Yes, you're gonna get. If you walk away with this draft, I would love to have Jeanty, But if you walk away with Travion Henderson, and if you want to go early and you're more on my side and you want to go like RJ Harvey there and stack a couple of running backs, awesome. Maybe because he also has he has 4 good quarterbacks, right? Obvious listener of the show, obviously a good listener of the show. He's got Fields, he's got Penix on top of his normal starters. So he's got a quarterback to play with. So if, at the 104, Cam Ward's there. Hey, can you get a veteran? Can you get a veteran running back for that 104 that you really like? Because I bet you can. So
I bet Jonathan Taylor would be just fine with that pick. I get a little juice too.
Shout out to our homie Brittany. Brittany does all of the thumbnails for the Dynasty WarZone, and she says, "Too funny. My husband does not watch football, let alone play fantasy football." It's good to have those hobbies that you do not do with your spouse. It's like my wife and I used to do CrossFit together, but she got so sick of me. She went to another gym.
What a surprise.
Zero. We do talk travel baseball, and but she has zero interest in jiu-jitsu. So that's great. It's great. One more. We're going to do one more before we get out of here. Darth Twerk, thank you for the super chat. Just finished a startup. Got offered Jackson Smith and Jigba for Hampton straight up. My other running backs are Saquon and Brees. I'm struggling to say yes, even though my wide receiver room is bad. Jerry, you're a JSN guy. Talk to me.
You know where this is going. Accept. I'm accepting that 100 times out of 100 yet again. I believe in Omari and Hampton, and I think Jim Harbaugh is an excellent NFL coach, and I think he is wonderful for running backs. But Saquon and Brees, you already have pretty good running backs. Your wide receiver room is bad. You want to improve that, yada, yada, yada. More importantly than that, I have a young, good producing wide receiver and a young running back with good potential, but I don't know what they're going to do. Which one would I rather have? Jackson Smith and Jigba. Thank you very much. Easy for me. I think it's going to be a little tougher for Randers over there, though.
Absolutely not. I want you to follow along with me, Jerry. Are you ready?
Shoot.
Outside of the Podfather, has there been a bigger supporter of Omari and Hampton?
I don't think so.
Okay. And would you say that I've not been down, but I've been somewhat tepid on JSN?
I would agree. Tepid's a good word.
Given that you have Barkley and Brees Hall, I am taking JSN. Omari and Hampton could be great, but the one thing about the NFL and the running back position is there will always be another Bucky Irving. There will always be a guy who comes out of absolute obscurity and gives you RB1 points. Jackson Smith and Jigba last year had 137 targets. And all the people who were worried about Sam Darnold, you know what? They were the same dumbasses last year who was worried about Sam Darnold for Justin Jefferson. How'd that work out? Oh yeah. He only got 154 targets and caught 103 of them for 1,533 yards. Yeah, the reason why I'm doing this, Darth, is simply because wide receivers that are going to average 10 targets a game, which I believe JSN will, do not grow on trees. Like I said, you can easily get I would even say Kyron Williams, when he came out as a rookie, kind of came out of nowhere. His rookie year wasn't super good. He got banged up, didn't play great. But you know what? The last 2 years have been excellent. James Cook, Chuba Hubbard. I mean, the list goes on. And then you have the retreads and guys that could just – Tyron Tracy. These are all guys that I could easily be looking for to get running back depth. I'm taking JSN, and it doesn't feel right to say, but just because it's not right doesn't mean it's not true. So and I got Chef in there. Yeah, I mean Kareem Hunt, that was another great one. And then I'm gonna throw this one out here because as I do love the Culture Watch, a regular supporter and chatter on Sunday nights. They're looking to see a little bit more of the what the offense looks like. But by the time that gets here, if he looks fine, you're not getting this deal. If you wait until October 1st, that's 4 weeks into the season, and JSN's doing JSN things, right? Getting 10 targets a game, getting
And Najee Harris still exists in the
and
world.
Najee Harris still exists, and Jim Harbaugh has that veteran deference, and he's letting Najee get more than what he should. Then you're not going to get this deal. This is what I was talking about earlier. You have to lose this trade to win this league, and I don't think that JSN is going to reach the heights of the big three. I mean, he's a top 10 wide receiver in fantasy, and I can always cobble together points at the running back position. Having that elite target hog at the wide receiver position, it just hits different. And Jerry, what's going to hit different is we're going to try and do more of this next week. I mean, what else are we going to talk about?
It's true.
Let's help more people. So here's what I got for you. If you're watching this and you're like, shit, I didn't get my trade question to him, I didn't do it. You know what? I am now reading the comments every week on YouTube. So go to YouTube. Even if you didn't watch this, you're a podcast listener. You're listening to this sometime Wednesday. Go back to this live stream that streamed on Sunday night. You go to the live stream, you leave a trade you would like Jerry and I to break down. I think we could do this for 45 minutes to an hour next week, Jerry.
Probably. I mean, with all the people we get. Also, I don't know if you read our YouTube comments. I'm looking at all the mean people that are in them. Whenever that comes around. No,
you know what?
Put your trades in. We could definitely do that.
We have an extension. This is not going to be on the to be continued. Austin, I apologize. I saw your comment about Travis Etienne. I missed your trade, buddy. Austin said, I traded Tua, Ken Walker, and the 203 in this year's rookie draft, and a 2026 second for Drake May and Roma Dunze in a superflex. What do you guys think?
You are talking to a person that loves Kenneth Walker and has been a Tua fanboy for a long time. And I also don't like Drake May like Randy likes Drake May. But also, like, would I rather have Drake May or Tua? I would rather have Drake May. Would I rather have Kenneth Walker 203 and a 26 second for Roma Dunze?
Well, I'm going to do you a favor. While you're breaking out the Dynasty abacus, maybe that could be your...
Well, I'm trying to break it down each way. Like, I think Tua and Drake are similar.
You are drunk. You are drunk. You
have just hated Tua for so long. Drake May's not that great.
I've been right.
He's been fine. He's
been hot, moist garbage.
He has not been hot, moist garbage.
And every time when the weather turns and he's got to go to New York or Buffalo in the fucking fantasy playoffs,
yeah, okay,
he shits the bed and rubs it on his face.
I agree, but there's more than 1 week to a goddamn season. You hateful bastard.
And also, I mean, what's the best case scenario? He had his best season because he actually played all the goddamn games. He finished his QB 11. Okay, I got news for you.
QB1.
Yes, it was. He finished. Hold on, I gotta look. He finished 12 more fantasy points that season ahead of Sam Howell, who was the QB 13.
Which is about what Drake May has done so far. It's been Sam Howell.
I'm telling you, Austin, you are way out ahead of this deal. I don't even love Roma Dunze. I am, but see, the culture watch back in there, they're risky. You know what? Nothing's more risky than Tua's cranium.
I mean, that's fair. And that's the difference though.
You know, like you ever like accidentally like turn around in your garage and like hit your head on something? Tua does that. His season's over. His season's over. So I'm being a hateful bastard to a degree, but Austin, thank you. We ran that one in at the last minute. I hope you stuck around to get it. And guys, again, whether we're wrapping up on Sunday night or you're watching throughout the week, put your trade in the comments below and I will curate them and we will use them on next week's show. And we're going to shout you out. So make sure you tune back in next week to get the answers, Jerry.
We are just men of the people.
I love these people.
And big shout out to Brittany too.
And huge shout out to Brittany, wonderful artist, amazing. I just so easy to work with. I can't say enough good things about Brittany, but yeah, you guys make this thing go. And shout out to everybody who joined us at an oddball time last week because of the situation last week. But the Sunday crew, these are our people. These are our people. We get so many repeat people that we want to make sure that we're taking care of you for taking care of us. And shout out to everybody who's been using the promo code WarZone on Fast Draft. We appreciate it. It makes the Podfather and the guys that decide who comes back year over year. It makes them say, hey, those guys are actually worth keeping around. So we'll be back around next week. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Jerry, anything on the way out?
No, thank you for just coming out. We're having a kick-ass time.
Dude, I'll tell you, we're getting ready to be like in the least fun part of Dynasty content was once you get in season. It's like they give you something really good because they give you football that matters, but they take away the real fun of Dynasty, which is anything but the regular season. So
true.
Anyway, on behalf of that man, his name is Jerry Sinclair. Follow him on X that he's never on, at JerrySinDWZ. I'm there more than him, but not as much as I used to be, at DWZ Memphis. Send us your trade questions, guys, and then come back to hear the answer next week. We appreciate your support. See you.
Bye. Hey, I want to thank you for being part of this broadcast. If you have any thoughts on it, leave a comment. If you enjoyed it, make sure you leave a like. And if you want to see more shows on the Player Profiler channel, subscribe to it. That's how we know you want more.
All right, buddy. I'll see you next week. I got to pee.
Okay. You know, it still says we're live, right?
Oh, I do now.